Welcome back to the Magic Exists podcast with Dani Margeaux. I have an amazing guest here. Her name is Yolandi. She is a Dragon Priestess and Soul Truth Weaver who brings forth ancient codes in her transmissions and activations, and it all weaves into the bigger picture of why our souls chose to come to this planet. Welcome, Yolandi.
Oh, thanks, Dani. I'm so excited to be here. Thanks so much for asking me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's such an honor. I've been working with Yolandi since early 2024. She helped me connect with my galactic star family, and I just took her amazing dragon course, which we'll get into because she's going to launch again later this year. But the first question I like to ask everyone is, what is your strongest clair, and how does that come through in your life?
Okay, so yeah, this is an interesting question for me because, like, for me, it's definitely my clear knowing. So my claircognizance has always been like my strongest one, and yeah, it's just like the deep knowing, right? Like, it's just like I'm very much driven by, like, I'm a splenic authority in human design as well. So I just do stuff. I just know this is right. But as I've been doing this work, it's like things kind of got stronger as well. So everything else is kind of amped up. But I'm gonna have to say that one is definitely my strongest. So my clear knowing is just like it's the thing.
Yeah, I love that. Same here. It guides me. And you just mentioned that you just came from a stone circle. And I was wondering, what is that? Just so our viewers can maybe understand like what that is, what that does with like sacred sites, earthwork, and all the beautiful things that you bring to Mother Earth.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so I'm part of a group called Project Earthwork, and I started it in 2020. So I used to live in South Africa, and then I moved to the UK in 2019. My husband's British, so we basically decided to move back here, and obviously I landed here, and I've always been interested because Stonehenge is here, and like Glastonbury Tor, and the heart chakra of the world, and everything, and so like stone circles kind of started calling me as I got here. And then eventually I really realized that after a bit of an interaction with the dragon in a place called Merlin's Cave, I was told that I needed to connect with the old sacred sites and find out information and share that with people. So basically the stone circles that's here in the UK is these beautiful transmission portals that is coded with really ancient information and beautiful messages for the collective. So these places were really venerated points of energy, like ley lines that get together, and then basically think of it as a big portal of amplification of like earth energies. And when you step in there, what happens is that whatever needs to be unlocked within you, or whatever messages you need, or whatever healing you need, can actually happen in these sacred sites, basically. So they are like you have the temples in Egypt, for instance. That's like a culmination of energies. This was just the way of the ancient people of Britain, like coming together and amplifying energy of the earth and working within those. So part of what we do as a project is we work at different sacred sites and we teach people how to actually listen to the earth again so that we can start to work with her energies and listen to what she wants to tell us, and then get into an energy of co-creation with the earth where we're not just extracting and taking, especially at sacred sites, because people just run in there and they just want. So what we're teaching people is how to actually go and give back to the land again and celebrate the land and respect the land and work with the energies in the right way. So yeah, that's the whole sacred site like mission and vision for the project.
That's so powerful. In terms of today, was there like a something that the earth wanted you guys to hear if you're able to share that, or is it kept in the container?
So today was really we have got the 7th of September is International Goddess Day. And what we are going to be doing is getting together to celebrate the ultimate goddess, which in our opinion is Mother Earth. And so when we were in there today, it was really about asking permission, firstly, to be able to go and work with the land, because we don't just rock up and do things, as I said. So we went in and we saw what is it that she wants to tell people and what is it that she wants to share. And really the message that we will be bringing through and working deeper with while we're there is that there is now this shift that's happening where for so long we've been looking at all the galactic energies, like asking them to come in and go, come on, give us information, give us the wisdom. And she's going, well, guess what? I'm older than all of that. So we need you people to start tapping in under your feet again, because the real wisdom that we are keeping is right under our feet. And the earth is way more ancient than the Pleiades and the Sirius people and like Arcturus and all of those energies that we're working with. But like she is way older than that. So we need to get back into that space of like understanding that we were created from her. So we have got a direct line into the greatest wisdom of this galaxy of ours, right? Like, and of our solar system as well. So it's a much bigger thing when you realize that you're sitting on the gold, where we're always thinking the gold's over there. And meanwhile, she's going, no, 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 you keep missing the point. Like, I'm holding all the information you're looking for because you are of me. And that is basically what the message is from her.
That's so beautiful, and this is why I think I really resonate with you. You mentioned this in the dragon container about how, like, we're always trying to go up, and for a while, this is when we met. It was, like, late 2023. I went to Peru, and I was like, "I wanna go and meet my star family, and I wanna do all this light language," and then I went to Peru, and I connected with the land, and I grounded into her heart, and then when I did that, that's when I was transmitting light language and connecting to the galactic, and I was like, "Oh, whoa, that's how." I was like, connecting to Earth is the portal. Connecting to you, grounding into Earth is the portal. And so I've definitely had a shift of like, I want to go outside. I want to go and connect with my star family and have guidance from them, which I think is very valuable, and important. And I know you're an Andromedan star seed and, all these beautiful things. And I connect with like Sirius and Lyra and Orion. But what I've come around to lately is coming back to Mother Earth and the power that she holds. And I think that's really what drew me to your dragon, course, and really connecting to the ley lines of Earth and giving back and being the portal for light that she wants as she is going through her rebirth, as we are all going through that collectively. And so that is something I've been stepping into in terms of just grid work, connecting more with self, connecting more with earth. And when you said ask permission, I've been as I've been traveling lately, I went to Europe this year. I went to Greece and Turkey, and I visited like the House of Mary and a few places. And I've been intentionally seeing the world from a different view from this place, right? Like, land, what messages do you have for me? Not like in the 3D, which is still beautiful. Like, oh, what's the history? I still love to see that. What went on here? But then, like, what is like the message that this place, is providing me so that I can support it more fully? So for anyone who is like wanting to maybe do more grid work or earth work, how can they support Mother Earth more or connect to Earth more deeply?
Mm. Okay, so I mean, firstly, it's about understanding that this is co-creation, right? Like, so there is this like reciprocal, like this relationship that we have with her, and I I see so often in everyone that I work with, like we're always trying to pull something from outside of us and then give it to her, but you are a replication of the central sun, just as she is a replication of the central sun, right? So imagine inside of you, in the middle of your being, is this great big sun of energy and light that you've been gifted by Mother Gaia, who's been gifted that by the central sun. So we started there, and then our sun, and now she has that. So we have the potential of energy, of light, of everything within us. And in the pieces and parts of the land where it is needed for light to come back because of bad stuff that's happened, or like any memories and things held there, I can utilize my inner light to actually help the land underneath. Okay, so if I set the intention of taking my inner light and pushing that down into the earth and clearing the grids and the energies that is under my feet, and helping to take the pain away and helping to take the old memories and the darkness out of the grids and out of the lines, that's going to benefit the people who live on that land. And they are going to feel that change, that lightness of being coming back through them. And then that changes the bigger picture. Does that make sense? That's like how I see it.
Yes, absolutely. And it's so magical and powerful. And something that like is so simple even that if you really think about it, but really it's like you have to like find and experiment with all the things outside until you come back and you're like, "Oh, I am the magic. The magic is within me." And so now I want to talk about dragons because you work as a dragon priestess. How did you come to connecting with the dragons and what do they mean for us as humans, supporting us during this time?
Okay, so my journey with them started. I'm always like, I can't exact it. This 2016, 2017. I was doing energy healing, and then the very first time I was in my like healing room, busy doing hands-on healing with a client, and I just felt this energy come in, and I'm like, I don't know what's happening. My hands are going weird, like things are happening that's strange. And I realized that there was a dragon in the room with me, and I'm actually channeling dragon energy. And I was just like, okay, this is weird, but it's very powerful and it was very effective. And so, as the person I am, like, I kept on experimenting a little bit, like digging in. But I mean, no one was really talking about it, and it wasn't like something that was known, right? You didn't like, it wasn't like everyone was like, on about it. So I had to kind of play around and see what happened. And then when I moved to the UK, things shifted for me because of my connection with the land. I've got a very deep ancestral connection here as well. And then the dragons basically came through to me and started talking to me and started guiding me in my work and what I needed to do. And I was like, okay, I guess I really need to start taking this serious now. And I went through it wasn't a dark night of the soul, but it was almost like a shift within myself where I needed to find out who I really was. And I was in almost like a breathwork session, like a really deep session. And as I was going through my own trance and it was like a real mystical experience for me. I basically was shown by my guides that they were putting me into this role as a dragon priestess. And I went through an entire initiation within this visionary experience. And I'm like, fuck, this is like me basically. Like, I've never heard of the word dragon priestess. I went and Googled it. I'm like, there's no dragon priestesses. I don't know what this means. I don't know why I'm doing this. But me being me, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to see what happens. And I took the title and I'm like, okay, I will take this and I will be this. And then as I like experienced life further and further and further, I realized that this is actually about like being connected to the energies of Gaia, right? Like, because the dragons are the energies of Gaia. And like when we start to teach and look at the world through the eyes of the dragons, it goes to a much more mystical place. And so I just went with what they told me and they were like, this is it. And that helped me then to start to initiate other people into this ancient lineage that I was shown that is connected to this land that I live on now. So yeah, so it was a very much like me and my guides and my dragons going through a mystical experience, basically.
Yolandi, this is so powerful. And I think a lot of my listeners are going to really appreciate this because a lot of people are searching for their purpose. And recently, a lot of the people who I am mentoring or supporting, they're on that verge of like, they've already gone through their dark night of the soul. They've already gone through their spiritual awakening there, and they're doing something really powerful like readings or astrology or coaching, but it's still very mainstream, right? And what the message that's coming through is like, you have your own magic and that hasn't been shown to you yet, or you haven't discovered it. And that is what you're going to be doing. And it's going to be a different kind of technology or soul, activation. And so it's kind of like this bridge that they don't know like what that is, but you literally just allowing yourself to go through your own self practice and having your guides come to you and initiate you yourself into what is this like dragon priestess. And now you're teaching people that. And so I just wanted to bring that to everyone's attention that like this is how you find that out for yourself. And it's so beautiful. And I really think everyone comes into your awareness at the right time because I have been working with dragons. I think they were more like 12th to 14th dimensional, like back in maybe 2022 or three. And they're like, they're my protectors of my Akashic realm. They take me and they take me through journeys through different dimensions. And it's so beautiful. But I had never connected to Mother Earth dragons or earthly dragons in that way. And I had done it some kind of grid work where I have like this dragon oracle deck. And one of them was like call in the fourth and fifth dimensional dragons and bring in light into your body and just send them to all the places you feel like they need it, like Egypt. And so I did that once or twice. I was like, oh, that's really cool, but not really, I didn't know like the vocabulary or like what I was doing. And so your email popped up, and I remember I was like, I think this is for me. And it's so beautiful because I was able to receive the transmissions I needed and understand working with the elements, the fire, air, water, earth dragons. And what's really interesting is they were like, we are meant to connect with you deeper so that you can support your Akashic container that is coming out. And so if I had not been in that container to connect with a variety of different and more expansive dragons, I don't think I would have been able to hold the space that I was meant to hold that was already like coming into fruition. And so it's like really about trusting like the process of of all the guides, right?
And I know, and I'm like, because people might think, oh my God, that's so crazy. This woman's having all these experience. And I'm like, but this is what they want to bring back to us. They want to bring the sovereignty that you are actually the one. And I think, a lot of what's happened in the past is that we've been told some person who's smarter than you can initiate you into this. But actually, the ancients initiated themselves into stuff. Okay, no one gave them a permission slip and said, "Okay, you're allowed to do this now." They just they experimented, they felt, they used their bodies to guide them, and that's what we're being called back to. We need to listen to this beautiful vessel, and that's why, for me, the elemental dragons is part of the baseline of this work, right? Because if we don't go back to the basics of the dragons, and I mean, there's nothing basic about them, but it's like the remembering of what's under my feet, what are the energies and the elements that like makes up this land, and then we can go out and play in the realms and everything. But we need to basically be connected to this here for us to be able to experience and explore and go wherever we need to go. That's how I feel about it.
I absolutely love that, and that really resonates with me because last year when I got the call to, like, start teaching the Akashic Records, I was like, "Oh, I don't know, this seems kind of scary, and I don't know if I could hold a container like that," but I kept surrendering, right? And that was, like, part of the breadcrumbs of, like, my evolution of surrendering to, like, what my soul had already decided. And in March, I had an initiation right before our container of they're like, "You are now an Akashic master, and you are ready to begin teaching." And it's not because you technically, like, your human self knows all these things, but it's, like, your connection to your soul, and the information that's gonna come through is gonna support the people there. And that's similar to your experience, so I love that you shared it because I was like, "I'm gonna start sharing that on my Akashic Master," and I just started doing it, and I don't know if people I'm sure people are Akashic Masters, but it's like, "Oh, okay, I'm a new Akashic Master," and so it was very much like, "This is a beta. We'll see how this goes, but I am really supported, and let's see." And it was a self-initiation. They initiated me, and there was no, like, advanced course I took, and what I'm teaching in the records are things that, like, my guides just taught me, and so it's how like, trusting yourself enough, and but also being vulnerable in a way of just saying, like, "Of course, take what resonates and leave what doesn't," and now I truly know, and I know you teach the Akashic Records too. It's like the soul who's meant to find you and your energy is the one that's, like, meant to find you, and I think it's so beautiful, and the more of us that connect, it's so powerful.
Yes, exactly. And for me it's about people seeing what we're doing, because I mean, you were in my dragon course and that was the first time I taught it, and I hadn't even thought I was ready to do that. And then I'm like, my friend pushed me and she's like, for God's sake, Yolandi, like no one knows what you're doing and this is so cool. And I'm like, oh yeah, it is actually. And then just like allowing myself to be vulnerable in the class and go, I don't really know what's going to happen today, but let's see. And then allowing the dragons to speak through us, or allowing the Akashic, teachers and guides to speak through us. It's the same thing. And it's like, if we can show other people what it is to be brave and to like walk this path of self-initiation, my God, like what's going to happen, right? Like the world will be such a different place because we believe in our own sovereignty. We believe that we are worthy of doing all these cool things that you and I experience and do every day, right? So it just feels really important.
Yeah, it's so beautiful, and you had, I think, like, 40 or 50 beautiful souls. The community you have is just magical. And so you mentioned that you also work as a soul truth weaver. What does that mean?
Yeah. So part of my my gifts is basically that I have this ability to, when I connect with someone, to see the truth of who they really are, right? So for me, if I can see the truth of your soul, I can share it with you, I can reflect it back at you, and we can weave it back into your life for you to actually live that. So for me, it's all about soul truth. I live my soul truth. That is like I walk my talk. I like, this is basically who I am, and it is what it is. And if I can inspire other people and activate with them their own soul truth, that is what I aspire to. This is like really, this is my job, is to make you see who you really are. If it's through the dragons, if it's through the Akashics, if it's through journeying with me, whatever. But like, I'm here to show people who they really are. And we're all freaking magic, aren't we? So yeah.
Yeah, I love it. And I've experienced group session and like one-on-one, and it's interesting because it's very much just to share a little bit. It's like it's an energetic activation. It's like an energetic knowing and like being in that portal with you and being just so divinely guided to you and your guides supporting and all the guides supporting this like moment of connection. It like drops in so profoundly. Like you are meant to, I was meant to have that reading with you to like connect deeper with my Syrian family. And then with that, I did so much activation from that, right? So it's like this pivotal moment of like of support, which is like it's magical. Her DNA activations, all the things. For someone who is moving more into like the spiritual space, DNA activations are things that like the Akashic Records taught me. And I'm curious for anyone who might feel, I guess, uncertain of like the effect of like an activation or a transmission that can affect the body in a like a more a positive way.
Mm. Okay, so for me, like in every strand of DNA, there's a story woven into it, right? So just like we can read the Akashic Records, the DNA holds the story of your ancient self, of like, past lives, all of those type of things. So within your DNA, that is woven in. And I'm a firm believer that in the Akashic Records and in whatever we do, we will only be shown what we need to be shown and what we need to understand, right? So, and for me, if someone does come for an activation with me or with some work with me, it's like the guides will take us to what they need to see. And so if there's a story held within your DNA that we need to share, or if you commit to like saying, like, I really want to go deeper into my DNA, we can start to unravel and pull it apart and see, and we're going to see what we need to see for your path. And even if you don't always understand what you get told right now, there will be a moment in time where you go, oh my goodness, this, and this, and this. So for me, it's like everything, it's like energetically, it's all woven into us, right? Like my whole field contains all of this information about me as an ancient being, like every single one of us. And we can literally go and read it and pull it and go, oh my God, look at you here. And you've done this and this is amazing. And that like maps to that. So we're like these beautiful puzzles that's constantly being built and like pieces are coming together. So that's how I see it.
I love that you mentioned that because oftentimes someone, if they are still in kind of like the ego mindset and like kind of trying to still control their journey or their process, I'll have clients who'll be like, I need to email you all my questions ahead of time. And then I want to know so I can get the best and the most out of this hour because I know it's best. And it's funny because like as intuitives on this side, we know that we will see exactly what they're meant to, see, and they will receive what they're meant to receive. And so it's this very interesting process of like trying to empower my clients to support them. And often they'll understand like after the session, they're like, oh my gosh, like even if it's like 6 months later, that changed my life, that changed my perspective, my view, like I really needed that, but it's a level of trust with self and the divine guidance and breadcrumbs that are, they're being led into.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, even for me personally, I have like stuff that someone have said to me 5 years ago or 10 years ago, and then I'll be like, oh my God, it's making sense now. I saw something like, so, everything will happen when you are ready to understand it and it will make sense. I was speaking to a friend of mine. I did her DNA activation in 2020. And she was messaging me the other day and she's like, Yolandi, because she literally transcribed everything I told her. And she was like, you said this and this and this, and now I understand this and this makes sense. And I'm like, this is 5 years later and now it makes sense. And I'm like, okay, I really like, I always say to people, you might not understand everything I say to you now, but it's going to weave in somewhere. And that's the magic of this, because it's all present. We just don't consciously know how it's going to fit together.
Yeah, I love that. And for, some listeners who are maybe just starting to learn the Akashic Records or starting to trust their intuition, oftentimes it could be scary because they want to know what the messages they're transmitting are like quote unquote correct or right. And sometimes the person who's receiving it, they're like, that doesn't really make sense. Like I gave a reading to this girl and I was like, you're gonna have kids. Like, have you thought about kids? And she had just got married and she's like, oh no, like, I don't really think. And then now it's been 2 years. She's like messaging me like, yeah, so we're trying to have kids. And so it's like sometimes the scary part, even if it's not validated by the 3D person across from you, there's magic in there. And sometimes like revealing that those truths are sometimes the most potent and magical. So it's like, how can you support yourself more, trust yourself more so that you trust that like that information is coming through. And what I tell my clients or students is like, you have to trust your connection to the divine, to source. And you have to trust that what is coming through, it is for your highest good because you intend it to be so. And with that, I think it'll just like build that trust and support further.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, one of my favorite things is she's one of my close friends now, but she was one of the first people I read for when I started doing readings, like it's more than 10 years now. And I remember I like did the reading for her and like at the end I said, what's numerology? And at that stage, I had no idea what numerology was. I mean, this was like, like ages ago. And she's like, and I'm like, I'm just going to write this because we're still giving her a piece of paper with like all the stuff I channeled. And I'm like, numerology. And like, she was just like, it just kind of like was here. And now she's an amazing numerology teacher, reader. She's one of the best that I know. And she's like, Yolandi, it's just because you dropped that word, you randomly in the session said, what is this? I have no idea what it is, but check it out. And she was like, this was my answer. And now she's this incredible person who works with that and weaves it into all sorts of stuff. But it's just like, all it takes from us is like one little word as a reader. And that changes someone's entire destiny, right? Because I listened to whatever they were saying to me and I'm like, I don't know what this is, but you need to check it out. Bye. And then she went, right? And that's it, right? Like, so we have to trust because that could wake something up in someone that they needed to know that changes the entire path.
That's so, so powerful, Yolandi.
Mm. I know. So I'm always like the random shit that drops out my mouth, just have it because it's going to make sense at some stage.
I love it. So, what are you working on right now that can benefit my wonderful listeners?
Okay, so first thing obviously is the Dragon course that's starting in October, and I'm super excited about that. This is obviously round number 2, so I've learned a lot of stuff about like what I need to do, and I'm really focusing this time on like this framework that I've created with the Dragon Medicine Wheel and helping people to be able to work from the space of this container where you connect with the elemental dragons and work with them and then be able to utilize that however you want to. So I'm super excited about the Dragon course. And that's like a 3-month container where we journey together, as you've said. And then, okay. At the moment, I've just gone through a massive like spurt of ideas that's just literally dropped a few weeks ago. Okay, so I am going to be doing my Akashic course again, so that's happening as well. What I'm also offering at the moment is like a 5-month container journey with me, so one-on-one. So it includes things like working with the dragons, DNA activation, Akashics, all of that. So it's basically your own personal journey to mostly step out of fear, because so many of my clients that I've worked with has got this this feeling that they are bound by something that is holding them back from expressing themselves and becoming themselves. And my work is really about like helping people to move through that so that they can start to embody all the magic that I can see for them, right? Like, so it is about like unraveling all of those fears and everything that's holding you back, and then basically stepping back into the divine self that really wants to be here and to play and to express and create and just experience this magical life. So those are the main things. And then I do a whole bunch of other readings and things like that. So that's all there. But those are my main ones that I'm looking at the moment.
Amazing. I'll put all those in the show notes. And I love when you said play, because that's the point of this. It's like a lot of, for a while, I would have judgment about making things fun or joyful or playful. And what I've really learned is my divine self, my divine soul wants to move through life with ease and flow, even if things are hard. And kind of just gathering that higher level of perspective despite like kind of the chaos that's happening on earth right now. Is there any wisdom that you have that wants to come through for that?
Oh, so, I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, there's literally, like, there's this, like you said, chaos. So it's like, for me, when I tune into it, it's just like this, like, massive, like, fear and like helplessness and all of that. And, part of what I want to share in the world and what I want people to understand for themselves is that you are, I mean, the cliche of the lighthouse, right? Like, you are basically stood in the eye of this storm. And the stronger your connection to your inner wisdom, to your own self, to this planet, the stronger you are stood, the stronger that like internal anchor system of yours is, the more you can weather the storm, right? Like, when the world is in chaos and you're able to be strong and to be sending love and light and all of what is needed and healing out to the world, because if you're falling apart, you're not helping anyone else. So the more I'm working on myself and I am stronger and I know that I can make a difference and my energy is good for this planet and it will help humanity and everything else, then I am basically constantly like this beacon of light for the world. And so focus on that. If you want to make any changes in the world, focus on that. Focus on, like, inspiring people around you to hold the line and be there. And that for me is the most important thing we can do. Sort your own shit out, because then you're not going to be part of the chaos and you're not going to be creating this, and you'll be able to help the world in that way, basically.
I think a lot of people needed to hear that because I think a lot of people are in despair and fear and helplessness, what you said. So that is so beautiful. Just yeah, recreating that inner anchor for themselves.
Yeah.
Yolandi, you gave so much powerful, magical information here. And I'm so grateful that you came on here and co-create the space with me. I know we will definitely work together again.
Oh, thanks, Dani. This was so beautiful. And thank you for giving me the opportunity just to like chat with you. It's been like, it's been so beautiful. Because this is needed, right? Like, the more we get to talk about this stuff, and like you said, like all the conversations we had about like your self-initiation, your sovereignty, this is the stuff that matters. Like, we are in this incredible time where we are given an opportunity to take our own power back, that, and then in turn use that for the collective. So it's like, it's the me become the we, right? Like, we're needing to go through this process of finding my strength so that I can support community, so that I can hold the people that are feeling helpless, so that I can show them there's a better way. And that's what we're doing. So things like what you're doing is so important, because all of us are just little, pieces on this big chessboard, like just going, come on, we can do this. We've got this, guys.
We're all plugging into that unity consciousness little by
Yes,
little.
exactly. And that's what we're doing. So it's beautiful. So thank you for doing this as well.
Thank you.